Hello everyone and welcome to the sixth hour and the last hour of optics. In this hour we are going to talk about optical instruments. I know many of you find optical instruments difficult because of some sign convention problem. We will try to eradicate that problem completely here, and believe me, this particular topic is easy topic. So without wasting time, let's start the topic of optical instrument, and first we will begin with the most awesome optical instrument, that is our eye. So let's talk about human eye. I won't talk here much because I know you guys are neat aspirants and you are better at knowing eye than me. But we need to focus on two things here. One is cornea, another is eye lens. If I ask any student, when ray of light falls on the eye, who converges the rays? The cornea or the eye lens, or both of them, or none of them? Most of the students will say that the rays which hit the eye are converged due to the eye lens, but that is only part of the two. We need to understand that the convergence power of cornea is greater than the convergence power of eye lens. Why? Look at the shape of the cornea. Inside the eyeball, we have got a medium of higher refractive index, so let's call it denser medium. Outside the eye, usually we have got air, so we have got a medium of lesser refractive index. Let's say parallel rays of light hit it, and in the last 2 hours where we talked about lens and refraction over curved surface, I told you guys, if this is the type of scenario, then when the rays move from rarer medium to denser medium, these rays will get converged. And to understand, then eye lens further converges the rays. So question is, who converges the rays so as to form image on the retina? The answer is cornea as well as eye lens. Now let's talk about some basic terminology. First, there is something called range of vision. A healthy human eye has got near point at 25 centimeter and the far point at infinity. So the range of vision varies from 25 centimeter to infinity. So for healthy eyes, it is 25 centimeter is the near point and infinity is the far point. Our eyes are most relaxed when we are observing something at our far point. Means that our eyes are most relaxed when we are looking at something placed at infinity, given that we have got healthy eyes. Now, a normal eye can see the objects clearly only if they are at a distance greater than 25 centimeter. So our eye can see things clearly when they are placed at distance greater than 25 centimeter. This distance is called least distance of distinct vision, and we have got a symbol for it. We use the symbol capital T. So what is capital T? Capital D is the least distance of distinct vision. To observe things, they must be kept at a distance greater than 25 centimeter from the eye. In your home, your elderly must have told you, when you are reading a book, don't place it too close to your face, right? Now, there is something called persistence of vision. When we see something, the image remains in our system for 1 by 10 of a second. So we say that the persistence of vision is 1 by 10 second, that is 0.1 second. If time interval between two consecutive light pulses is lesser than 0.1 second, if the time gap between two consecutive light pulses is less than 1 by 10th of second is less than 0.1 second, eyes cannot distinguish them separately. Some people say that eyes can distinguish, brain can't distinguish them separately. When we look at a movie, or when you are looking at this recording is being done at 25 frame per second. So actually there is no continuous motion in front of you. 25 pictures move in front of you every second, and since your brain can't differentiate between those pictures, that's why it appears as a continuous motion picture. Now next thing we need to know is resolving limit. If you place two objects very close by, then when looked from some greater distance, they start to appear as a single point. For example, have you ever heard of the name Arundhati Vashishta? Arundhati Vashishta. These are two stars which orbit around each other, right? And these two pair of stars, when seen from Earth, appear to be a single star. Why? Because when two things are very close by, our eyes can't separate them independently. So here, understand that the minimum angular displacement between two objects, the minimum angular displacement between two objects, so that they are just resolved, so that our eyes see them as two distinct objects, is called the resolving limit. For a human eye, a healthy human eye, the resolving limit is 1 minute. What is the meaning of 1 minute? You take a right angle, it is 90 degrees. So if you divide it into 90 equal part, you will get 1 degree. Now, if you take 1 degree, such a small angle, and divide it into 60 equal part, further divide this 1 degree into 60 equal part, then one such angle will be 1 by 60 degree, and that is called 1 minute. So the resolving power of a human eye is 1 minute, which is as good as saying 1 by 60 degree. So let's see one example based on this resolving limit of human eye. Question goes like, a person wishes to distinguish between two pillars located at a distance of 11 km. So there are two pillars and they are at distance of 11 km from an observer. Now to see these two pillars as two distinct pillars, the angle subtended by these two pillars on the eye should be greater than 1 minute or at least equal to 1 minute. So what should be the minimum distance between the pillars so that the eye can see both the pillars separately? So what has to be the separation between these two pillars? So let's visualize. As the limit of resolution of eye is 1 by 60 degree. I just told you that the limit of resolution of human eye is 1 minute and 1 minute is same as 1 by 60 degree. If the angle subtended by these two pillars on the eye will be less than 1 minute, our eye will see them as one single pillar. So if you visualize the case, there are two pillars separated by distance d, and the distance of these two pillars from the human eye is 11 km. Let's say here you have got this angle theta being subtended by these two pillars on the eye. What we have learned as the basic definition of angle, we say that if the arc length is x and the radius is r, and here we get an angle theta, then r theta equals to x or theta equals to x by r, but whenever you use it, the angle theta should be in radian. So here you will say that this angle theta should be greater than 1 by 60 degree or at least equal to it, but I should substitute the angle in radian, not in degree. How to convert an angle from degree to radian? Remember that theta degree is same as theta into pi by 180 radian. So we will say that the angle theta should be greater than 1 by 60 degree so that our eye can see these two pillars separately. If you keep on decreasing the angle, they start to appear as one single pillar. So now this angle theta will be nothing but d upon 11 km, and you must convert kilometer into meter. And this angle 1 by 60 degree can be written as 1 by 60 into pi by 180 radian. So you will write d by 11 into 10 raised to the power of 3 should be greater than the angle in radian. And once you have written this on solving, you will get d should be greater than 3.2 meter. It means that if the separation between these two pillars is greater than 3.2 meter, you will observe them as two independent pillars, two separate pillars. But if the separation between them will be less than 3.2, then you will observe one single pillar. Now let's move on and talk about the defects in eye, and the first type we are going to talk is myopia. If you are wearing specs and you are a student, then it's highly probable that you are suffering from myopia. At your age group, hypermetropia is not that commonly observed. So majority of people who are wearing specs and watching this video are suffering from myopia. Now, myopic people wear concave lens, hence their power is negative. So let's start understanding myopia. How I remembered it at your age. Myopia, the thing I am suffering from, myopia. Okay, myopia. So I am suffering from myopia. And what is the problem that I have? If you are not wearing specs, think of the name of your friend who wears specs and think that you are thinking on his behalf or her behalf. So myopia, the thing we usually suffer from in our age group. Generally, these people can't see at a greater distance without wearing the specs, and with specs, they can see things even at greater distance. So, first, distant objects are not seen clearly, but near objects are clearly visible. So, people who are suffering from myopia can't see things clearly when things are placed at certain distance. Image formed is before the retina. So, if this is the eyeball and parallel rays of light enter into the eye, the image formed is before the retina. That's why when these rays extend and form some blurry image on the retina, and we can't see clearly when they are at greater distance. This particular disorder is also called nearsightedness. So we can't see the things clearly which are far away, but we can see clearly the things which are nearby, nearsightedness. Remember that the far point comes closer. For a healthy human eye, you need to understand that the distance of distinct vision is 25 centimeter. So the near point is at 25 centimeter and the far point is at infinity for a healthy human eye. But for the people suffering from myopia, their far point is not at infinity anymore. Their far point has came closer to the eye. So their far point is something like at a distance of 100 centimeter or let's say 200 centimeter. We will even understand what will be the power for different people. So far point comes closer. That's why when things are placed beyond the far point for such a person, they can't see it clearly. Let's take for example, if I am suffering from myopia, which I am, then I can't see the things clearly which are, let's say, placed outside a distance of 100 centimeter, outside a distance of 1 meter. So I will say that my far point is at 1 meter, while for a healthy person, the far point is at infinity. This means that as my eyes got weaker and weaker, my far point kept on coming closer and closer to my eyes. So the far point comes closer. It is not at infinity anymore. Next, what are the reasons of myopia? The first reason given is power of the lens increases. So people who are suffering from myopia thinks that their eye lens is so powerful that rather than forming the image of parallel beam at retina, it forms it before the retina. So the focal length is less, so the power of the eye lens is more. But to be true, this is not what happens with ordinary people. This is a rare condition, and what generally happens is that the retina bulges out and move away from the lens. So the power of the lens doesn't increase technically. The shape of the eyeball distort and the retina moves away from the eye lens. So distance between the eye lens and retina increases because of not eating salads properly. So distance between the eye lens and retina increases. This is the second reason of observing myopia in the patients. Now moving on and understanding myopia more. So how to remove myopia? So simply wear a specs or get the surgery done to decrease the separation between the lens and the retina. Now most of us wear lenses. So which type of lens has to be worn? So by using concave lenses, the type of lenses most of us wear are convexo-concave lens. Convexo-concave lens. They have got a negative value of f and hence a negative power. So by using a concave lens of suitable focal length, myopia can be removed. But how do we do it? How much has to be the focal length of this lens? So to understand that, think of two cases, a healthy person and think of me. Let's say for a healthy person, the far point is at infinity. And for me, this far point is at a distance of 100 centimeter. As I have already told you guys, I am a myopic person. So question is, what has to be the focal length of the lens placed in front of my eye so that I can see this object clearly even when the object is placed at infinity? Sir, the ray of light will come out of object. It will pass through the lens and will enter your eye. The image formed by the lens acts as the object for your eye. And we know that your eye can't see clearly at a distance greater than 100 centimeter. So all we have to do is, we have to make sure when the object is placed at infinity, the lens forms its image at a distance of 100 centimeter, and as you can see clearly up to a distance of 100 centimeter, then you will be able to see this object clearly. Let's take one more example. Let's say there is a person who is suffering from myopia, and the far point for this person is 200 centimeter. You wish to make this person see as good as any healthy human being. For a healthy human being, the far point is at infinite distance. But for this person, the far point is at 200 centimeter. So if you place an object outside 200 centimeter, this person won't be able to see it clearly. But you want this person to see as good as a healthy human being. So when an object is placed at infinity, you want this person to see it clearly. So what's the cure? Place a lens in front of the eye. The image formed by the lens will act as the object for the eye, and this lens should form the image of the object placed at infinity at a distance of 200 centimeter. And then this object will be clearly visible to the eye and the myopia is cured. So this is so easy. Now better tell me, where does a lens form the image of an object placed at infinity? What? Where does the lens form the image of an object placed at infinity? At the focus. And that's why curing myopia, the question based on myopia are so easy. Now tell me what has to be the focal length of this lens. So sir, object is at infinity, image is being formed at 200 centimeter. So the focal length of this lens has to be 200 centimeter. Definitely negative. It's a concave lens. So you will say that minus 200, right? Now you know that minus 200 centimeter is minus 2 meter. So if I ask you what is the power of this lens, you will say that sir, power equals to 1 by focal length. So that will be equals to minus 0.5. And all of you who are wearing lens of minus 0.5 power, your far point is at a distance of 2 meter. So just remember, the focal length of the lens has to be same as minus times your far point. So a person can see up to, let's say, distance x. The far point is at distance x. Wants to see up to infinity. Using the lens, the person wants to see up to infinity. It means that the lens should form the image of an object at infinity at a distance x. And where does the lens form the image of an object placed at infinity? At its focal length. So you will say that, so the focal length of the lens f should be equals to minus x. Sir, why have you placed the minus sign beta? Because it has to be a concave lens. And this x is nothing but the far point of the person suffering from myopia. So if I tell you a person suffers from myopia and the power of the lens the person uses is minus 0.25. Can you tell me where is the far point of this person? You will say it's very easy. Power equals to 1 upon focal length. So minus 0.25 equals to 1 upon f. So here I will get f equals to 1 upon minus 0.25. So f comes out to be minus 4 meter. This means that the far point of this person is at a distance of 400 centimeter from the eye. And this is how easy questions based on myopia are. Now, bachcho, remember that focal length of the lens f is nothing but minus times the defected far point, not the healthy person's far point, that is infinity, the defected far point. Now, we will talk about hypermetropia. Usually, the people of old age suffer from hypermetropia. What is hypermetropia? You might have seen someone reading newspaper like this, keeping it at a greater distance. Why? Because their near point has gone away. For a healthy human being, the near point is at a distance of 25 centimeter. You keep something at distance of 25 centimeter, you can read it clearly. But you must have seen some elderly people, your parents or maybe grandparents or some of the teachers. They keep paper at a greater distance when they read it. Why? Because their near point has moved away. So what is hypermetropia? When you can't see things clearly when they are too close by to your eyes. So the distant objects are seen clearly. No problem with looking at things which are far away, but a lot of problem with the things which are closer. So but near objects are not clearly visible. Now, which type of sightedness you will say that these people have? They have got far sightedness. They can't look at the things clearly which are nearby, but they can look at the things which are far away. And do understand that farsightedness comes with experience. That's why old people have farsightedness. I don't have. I have got nearsightedness. Okay, moving on. Second, image formed behind the retina. So for people suffering from hypermetropia, the image is formed behind the retina. So if let's say they are not using any lens and light enters into the eye, the image is formed behind the retina. When a person suffers from hypermetropia, we say that the near point has moved away. For a healthy human being, the near point is at distance of 25 centimeter. For a person suffering from hypermetropia, the near point has moved away. Now the distance is greater than 25 centimeter. What are the reasons for hypermetropia? Sir, easy. There can be one of the two cases. Case 1. Either the power of the lens has decreased, so the focal length has increased, so the image is being formed at a greater distance. So first, power of the lens has decreased, and this is actually the reason. And the second one is that distance between the eye lens and retina decreases. The eyeball has shrunk. Usually this is not at all the reason. In most of the cases, the first one is the reason. Now बच्चों, moving on and talking about how to remove hypermetropia. So how to remove hypermetropia? See, we need to understand that if a person suffers from hypermetropia, the rays are converged behind the retina, right? So which type of lens has to be placed in front of the eye so that the rays are converged on the retina so that the person can detect clear image? So sir, rays are not getting converged at the retina. They are getting converged behind because the power of lens has decreased. So as to converge the rays, we use a convex lens, a converging lens. Now when the light rays enter, the convex lens converge them, then the cornea converge them, then the eye lens converge them, and finally the rays do meet at the retina. So as to cure hypermetropia, the type of lens we use is converging lens or convex lens. For convex lens, F is positive. So you will say that the power is positive. So by using convex lens, we can remove hypermetropia. But what has to be the focal length of this lens? Now listen here carefully. You need to understand that a person cannot see before the distance D. The person suffering from hypermetropia can't see clearly before the distance D. They can't see the objects nearby clearly. For a healthy human being, we know that the distance of distinct vision is 25 centimeter. For a person suffering from hypermetropia, let's say this distance is now 50 centimeter. And you know that we have placed here a lens to cure him. What do we want to do? We want that this person, once he has placed a lens in front of his or her eye, now this person should be able to see as good as a healthy person. A healthy person can see up to a minimum distance of 25. But this eye can see only when the object is at a least distance of 50 centimeter. That's why I am saying that the near point has shifted away. So what do we do? Listen to this particular line carefully. For this person to cure hypermetropia, we will make sure that when an object is placed at distance of 25 centimeter, the image is formed at a distance of 50 centimeter. We want this person to read like a normal person. So this person should be able to read when the object is placed at distance of 25 centimeter. And the image should be formed at 50 centimeter because that is the near point of this person now. If this lens makes image within 50 centimeter, this eyeball won't be able to observe it. So that's why the object has to be placed at 25 centimeter. And the image has to be formed at 50 centimeter. Sir, I am not getting it. Listen to it carefully. A person cannot see before distance D, where D is greater than the distance of distinct vision, where D is greater than 25 centimeter. You want this person to see clearly, right? That's what our job is. So, want to see the object placed at distance D. So when the object is placed at distance D, just like a healthy person can see, this person also want to see. But this person can't see when the object is at a distance less than small d. So sir, what to do? See, So we use a lens of focal length. How much? Focal length equals to dd by d minus d. And with this focal length, this problem can be solved. So how do you know dd by d minus d? See here. Think of the person who is suffering from hypermetropia. This person's near point is at a distance d. You are using a convex lens to cure this person's hypermetropia. So let's say we have placed a lens here. Now this person should be able to read like a healthy human being. So when an object is placed at a distance equals to d, the image should be formed at a distance small d so that this person will be able to see clearly. Now using the lens formula, you will say that this is the direction of propagation of incident ray. So you will say that u, where the object is placed, is minus d. Where the image is being formed is minus small d. And using the lens formula 1 by v minus 1 by u equals to 1 by f, you can find the focal length. How? Substitute the data. In place of v, you will substitute minus d. So 1 by minus d minus 1 by minus capital D equals to 1 by f. So what you get here, kids, is 1 by f equals to 1 by d minus 1 by small d. So 1 by f comes out to be d minus d by dd, or the focal length comes out to be small d into capital D upon small d minus capital D. So you need to remember this formula, and that will make your life easier. So if in a question they say that a person has got his near point at 100 centimeter, what is the power of the lens this person should use? So you will say, first of all, I will find the focal length. So the focal length that this person should use is 100 into 25 upon 100 minus 25, that is 75. Do take care that I am solving this question in centimeter. So cancelling out here, you get 3. So you get 100 by 3 centimeter, which is as good as 1 by 3 meter. So the focal length has to be 1 by 3 meter, and power equals to 1 by focal length. So that will be 1 by 3 meter. That will be equals to 3 diopter. So the power of the lens that this person should use is 3 diopter. And believe me, usually this question is only the question that get asked. You can remember this data as well. So now focusing on a very important thing. If I ask you guys, this is small d and capital D should be substituted with sign or without sign, what will be your answer? Sir, they should be substituted with sign. That's wrong. That's wrong because here beta small d and capital D in the derivation were taken as the distance. So you just have to substitute the magnitude. And this is what makes optical instrument difficult for mediocre students. Good students listen to the derivation carefully. To them it's clear what is small d, what is capital D. The weak student doesn't listen at all, and neither do they know about sign convention. They just look at formula and bum boom bum they get the answer. But the mediocre guy, that guy has learned that we should always take sign in optics, and when they apply sign here, they fail. So better just remember one word which I am saying right now. In optical instruments, if you are mugging up formula, after mugging up the formula, you just have to substitute distances. Once more, in optical instruments, for simple microscope, compound microscope, for telescope, if you have mugged up the formula, after mugging up formula, you just have to substitute distances, not with sign. Okay. So now let's start our journey of optical instrument. And first of all, we will talk about microscope. What is a simple microscope? A single convex lens is a simple microscope. A converging lens is a microscope. What is the use of a microscope? The use of microscope is to see things clearly. By the way, when we do not have a convex lens, a converging lens, how do we see things clearly? So if I am looking at something and I can't see it clearly, I get closer to it, or I bring the object closer and then I look at it. So I see it clear. Why? Think that this is your eyeball, and you have got one certain object you are looking at, and you have placed it at a greater distance from your eye. Now, since the distance of this object is greater, this object will substitute a small angle on your eye. Now, if you bring the same object closer to your eye, let's say here, You are not changing the height of the object. Object is same. You are looking at the same object. You just have brought the object closer to the eye. When you have brought the object closer to the eye, now let's say at some distance y. Now the angle subtended by the same object on your eye will be greater. So the same length of object occupies greater area on your retina. That's why this object appears to be clearer. So for seeing things clear, what has to be large? The angle subtended by the object on the eye has to be greater. The greater the angle subtended by the object, the greater is the length of the image formed on the retina. That's the idea. But there is a catch. If I keep on bringing object closer and closer and closer and closer and closer to my eye, I know that the minimum separation that I can have between the object and my eye is nothing but the least distance of distinct vision. If I bring the object within D, within 25 centimeters, then again the object starts to blur. So on moving the object closer, as you move the object closer and closer and closer to the eye, the angle subtended by the object on the eye keeps on increasing. No doubt on that. But the minimum distance that you have to keep is nothing but the least distance of distinct vision. So why do we use a microscope? We use a converging lens so that using the lens we can keep the object even within the distance d, even within 25 centimeters, so that the angle subtended by the object on the eye is even greater than 25 centimeters. How to do it? Let's see. Let's say this is your eye and you wish to look at an object of height h. To get the maximum possible length of image on the retina, you will keep this object closest to the eye where you can see it clearly, and the least distance you can keep it is d. So you will say that when you keep the object at distance d, then without the aid of any optical instrument, without the aid of any microscope, you will get the greatest length of image on the retina, right? Now, let's say we have used a lens. Our eye is now looking at the object using the lens. If the object is placed at some distance u from the lens such that the object is placed within the focus of the lens. If you have got a convex lens, yes. And if you place the object between focus and optical center, which type of image do you get? So sir, if we place the object between focus and optical center, the type of image we get is virtual, enlarged and erect. So if you place the object within the focal length of the lens, then this lens forms a virtual, enlarged and erect image. Now beta, you can see that if the angle subtended by this image on the eye, I call it beta, can I say that tan beta has to be equals to h dash by v? Yes sir. And can I say, looking in this small triangle, tan beta equals to h by u? Yes. So without the aid of the instrument, the angle subtended on the eye maximum possible, let's call it alpha, and this maximum possible angle that can be subtended on the eye can be written as tan inverse h by d, or you can say that tan alpha equals to h by d, right? Now here we are talking about small angles. For small value of theta, sin theta can be approximated to tan theta can be approximated to theta. So you will say that if the angle alpha is small, then as I know tan alpha equals to h by d, I can say that using tan theta to be nearly equal to theta, alpha can be written as h by d. So the maximum possible angle that can be subtended by the object on unaided eye is h by d. And with the help of the optical instrument, which is nothing but a simple microscope, the same object can, let's say, subtend an angle beta. Now you can write beta as either h by u, or you can write beta as h dash by v, assuming beta to be also a small angle. So the angle that can be subtended is equals to h by u or h dash by v. Both are same thing. So now, bachcho, do understand that The maximum angle that can be subtended on the naked eye without the aid of any optical instrument is, let's say, alpha, and this angle alpha for small value of alpha will be equals to h by d. Second thing, with the aid of the microscope, the image formed subtend an angle. This image formed subtend an angle, let's say beta. This beta can be said to be either h dash by v or h by u, but I am taking it as h by u for some reason. So you will say that beta equals to h by u. Now what is the magnification done by this particular simple microscope, which is nothing but a convex lens? What is the magnification done by it? So you need to understand the meaning of magnification when we are talking in terms of optical instruments. We say that the magnification done by an optical instrument is nothing but the visual angle with the aid of the instrument, the angle subtended by the object on the eye with the help of the instrument upon the maximum visual angle without the aid of the instrument. So with the help of the instrument, whatever is the angle getting subtended on the eye upon whatever is the angle getting subtended on the eye without the help of instrument, that is called magnification. So magnification is nothing but beta by alpha, and you can write this beta by alpha as h by u upon h by d, and cancelling out h and h, this d moves from denominator of denominator to the numerator and u comes to the denominator. You get it to be equals to d by u. Now if I ask 100 students, out of them 99 do not know that for a simple microscope the magnification is d by u. They know some formula maximum is d by f plus 1, for relaxed vision it is d by f. Most of them do not know it is d by u. So if I ask you one simple question, using a simple microscope, we are looking at the image of an object such that the object is placed at distance of 5 centimeter from the lens or simple microscope. What is the magnification? Now if you have listened to this question before, you will be confused. You will be like, sir, they haven't told me what the focal length, so I can't use d by f plus 1, I can't use d by f. How to answer? It's simple question. The magnification produced by the simple microscope is nothing but d by u. D is 25, u is 5. The magnification produced by this lens is nothing but 5. So it makes the object 5 times clearer. Now bachcho, remember this thing. Now what we are going to do is important. Rather than writing this formula in terms of u, we will write this formula in terms of v, and there is a reason to it why. I will go to the reason later, but let's substitute u in terms of v. So you will say that for this object and this lens, yes, the incident ray is from left to right. So if I have to use the lens formula, I should substitute the things with sign. Here beta, you need to understand what is u, what is v. U is the distance of the object from the lens. V is the distance of the image from the lens. These are not positions. So when you apply the lens formula, which is 1 by v minus 1 by u equals to 1 by f, you will say 1 by v. In the formula, I substitute position of image, and here v is the distance of image. So if the distance of image is v, the position of image will be minus v. So this is 1 by v part. Minus 1 by u. When you use the lens formula, 1 by v minus 1 by u equals to 1 by f, u is the position of object, but here the u is the distance of the object. So if the distance of the object is u, position of object will be minus u, and this equals to 1 by f. So bachcho, from here this minus minus becomes plus. So you can write 1 by u equals to 1 by f plus 1 by v. So rather than writing magnification as d by u, we can think of it as d times 1 by u, and in place of 1 by u, we can substitute 1 by f plus 1 by v. Now if I ask you here, bachcho, this u is what? Do not say this is the position of object with respect to lens. No, this is the distance of the object from the lens. What is this v, bachcho? This is the distance of the image from the lens. So from lens formula, you can say that 1 by minus v minus 1 by minus u, that becomes plus later, equals to 1 by f. So you can say that 1 by u equals to 1 by f plus 1 by v. And in place of 1 by u, substituting here 1 by f plus 1 by v, you will get magnification to be equals to d by u, which is same as d times 1 by f plus 1 by v. And you need to remember this thing. Remember that 1 by u equals to 1 by f plus 1 by v is what we substituted when we take u and v and f as in magnitude. Now, bachcho, once we have got this, game over. So once we know for the simple microscope, for the single lens, the magnification came out to be d by u, which is d times 1 by f plus 1 by v. You can see from this formula, magnification equals to d by f plus d by v. If you change v, sir, how can we change v? By changing u. Keeping the lens fixed, if you change u, v will change. If you change v, then for different value of v, you will get different magnification for the same lens. As d is fixed 25 centimeter, the focal length of the lens is fixed. On changing u, v will change, and as v will change, the magnification will change. Now the problem with our eye is, for our eye, the minimum value of v should be 25 centimeter and the maximum value can be infinity, because the image formed by the lens acts as the object for the eye. So this h dash is the object for our eye. So you will say that as v increases, magnification decreases. As the denominator here v will increase, the magnification will decrease. If you want maximum possible magnification, v should be minimum. What can be the minimum possible value of v? Say 25 centimeter, d. So you will say for maximum magnification, v should be minimum, and the minimum value of v is nothing but d. So substituting the value of v as d for maximum possible magnification, you will say that the maximum possible magnification is nothing but d into 1 by f plus 1 by d. D into 1 by f plus 1 by d gives you d by f plus d by d, that gives you 1. So the maximum possible magnification that you can get from a simple microscope is nothing but d by f plus 1. And to get this maximum possible magnification, at what distance the object should be placed? So sir, we know that 1 by u equals to 1 by f plus 1 by v when we are talking in terms of magnitude only. So if you want the final image to be at a distance d, so you will say 1 by u equals to 1 by f plus 1 by d, or 1 by u equals to d plus f upon df, or the distance of the object from the lens has to be df upon d plus f. So you will say that the maximum possible magnification that you can get using a simple microscope is d by f plus 1. This is when the final image is formed at the least distance of distinct vision. And for the final image to be formed at least distance of distinct vision, the value of u, the distance of the object from the lens, should be equals to df upon d plus f. Easy? Now let's think of the next case. We say that there is something called relaxed vision. If there is a jeweler using this simple microscope constantly on the eye, they don't want their eyes to be constant under stress. Our eyes are most stressed when the object is near, and our eyes are most relaxed when the object is far, far away. So if a person who has to work for, let's say, 6 hours, 7 hours on a microscope, let's say a microbiologist, they want their eyes to be relaxed because they have to work on the same instrument for a long period of time. For this to happen, for the eyes to be relaxed, the final image should be formed at infinity. So for relaxed vision, the final image should be formed at infinity. This is also called normal adjustment. Sir, why it's called normal adjustment? This is the adjustment under which the optical instrument is normally, everyday usage, is normally kept. So for relaxed vision, v should be infinity, and this particular setting under which the final image is formed at infinity is called the normal adjustment. So if you substitute v as infinity, you will get magnification equals to d times 1 by f plus 1 by infinity, and you know that 1 by infinity is nothing but shunya. So you will say that magnification, which is equals to d times 1 by f plus 1 by infinity, for the final image being formed at infinity, this quantity will become 0. So you will get magnification equals to d by f. Now, to form the final image at infinity, where the object has to be placed. So sir, for final image to be at infinity, the object must be placed at focus. just within focus, because just outside it will start forming real image at plus infinity, just within focus. So if let's say focal length is 5 centimeter, it should be placed at 4.9999999999999 till eternity. So just within focus. So to form the final image at infinity, the object should be placed at focus, technically just within focus, at a distance dx inside. Now I say that if you know simple microscope really well, your part is done. So at this point I will say pause the video, listen to the simple microscope part once more, and believe me, if you know simple microscope part clearly, compound microscope and telescope are cakewalk. They are very easy. So now we will talk about compound microscope. As the name itself says, compound microscope, it has got two lenses. So now in compound microscope we have got two lenses, and those are called objective and eyepiece, or objective and eye lens. So consist of two converging lenses called objective and eye lens. The objective is called objective because it is placed close to the object, and the eyepiece is called eyepiece because it is close to the eye. Now here we need to understand one thing, that the image formed by the objective acts as the object for the eyepiece. And in simple microscope we have just learned that for the lens placed just in front of the eyepiece to work properly, the object must be placed within the focal length, so that this eyepiece can form virtual enlarged image. So we know that the image formed by the objective acts as the object for the eyepiece, and the eyepiece will work properly when the object will be placed within its focal length. This means that this objective must form a real image that lies within the focal length of eyepiece. Now for this objective to form real image, where should be the object placed? So sir, a lens makes real image when the object is placed outside its focal length. If you place the object between focal length and optical center, then the image formed will be virtual. For this lens to form real image, the object must be placed outside the focal length, so you get a real image. So if asked, this object AB should be placed at distance greater than focal length of objective or less than focal length of objective, the answer is the object must be placed at a distance greater than the focal length of objective, so that the image formed by the objective is real, it lies on the other side, and it can lie within the focal length of eyepiece. Now but second thing, since the object and image are on different side of lens, the image must be inverted. So this objective inverts the image. Now once this image formed by the objective, which is the object for the eyepiece, lies within its focus, it forms a virtual magnified image. Now let's say the distance of the object from the objective is given by u0. So we know that u0 should be greater than f0 for the compound microscope to work properly. And the distance of the image formed by the objective, which is same as the object for the eyepiece, will be v0, distance from the objective, and ue, the distance from the eyepiece. And let's say this final image formed by the eyepiece is at a distance ve. Now we know that this final image must lie in the range of d to infinity. The minimum value of ve can be d and the maximum value can be infinity, what we have learned in the case of simple microscope. Now but some points here. The image formed by the objective acts as the object for the eyepiece. Very obvious, sir. Next beta. The objective forms real inverted image. The objective forms real inverted image within the focal length of the eyepiece, such that this image lies within the focal length of the eyepiece. So if they ask you which one has to be greater, UE or FE, you will say that sir, UE should be less than FE. The distance of the image formed by the objective should be less than the focal length of the eyepiece from the eyepiece. Then the eyepiece forms a virtual enlarged image. Next point, bachcho. And this is important point, I will say, the most important point. think of the objective as a normal lens. Think of the objective lens as your everyday lens. For this lens, use the formula 1 by v minus 1 by u equals to 1 by f, and if you are using the lens formula, substitute the sign, substitute the position, and use the magnification to be simply v by u. So treat the objective as your everyday lens and treat the eyepiece as your simple microscope. Okay, so think of objective as normal lens, everyday lens, and think of eyepiece as a simple microscope. And I am very sure that you have mugged up everything for simple microscope carefully, because if you won't get compound microscope easily. Mug up everything for simple microscope that has been said. Now bacho, moving forward, if you have got this compound microscope and you know this is everything, there are more important points that should be known. The first one, the final image is magnified. Obviously we are using a microscope, we want magnified image. The final image is virtual, yeah, because the eyepiece forms virtual magnified image and inverted. So the final image is inverted with respect to object. Question is, who inverts it? The objective or the eyepiece? Sir, the objective is the one responsible for inverting. Eyepiece doesn't change the orientation. So the final image is magnified, virtual and inverted. Objective is the one who inverts the image. Objective is the one who inverts the image. Next point, bachcho. Focal length of eyepiece is kept greater than the focal length of objective, and there are some practical purposes behind it. What are the practical purposes? If you keep the focal length of eyepiece beta less, then there will be less range of distance where this objective can form the image. And we keep the focal length of objective small so that we do not have to keep the object at a greater distance from the objective. So just remember, for practical purposes, the focal length of eyepiece is greater than the focal length of objective. And remember this thing for optical instrument. The one that will have greater focal length should have greater aperture. That's why the diameter of eye lens is greater than the diameter of objective for the case of compound microscope. For telescope, it's reverse. In case of telescope, the focal length of objective is higher and diameter of objective is higher. Keep this in mind. Next point, bachcho, the magnification. I just told you, treat the objective like your everyday lens, normal lens, and treat the eyepiece like simple microscope. Now you will say that, sir, the overall magnification has to be the multiplication of magnification due to the objective and eyepiece. I can write the magnification due to objective using the normal formula, the lens formula. Lens formula tells me that the magnification is V by U, but beta here V and U are positions. So in place of magnification by objective, if I use the formula V by U, I will substitute V as plus V naught, and I will substitute U as minus U naught. So this is the magnification by the objective. Multiply it with the magnification by the eyepiece. And I have told you that think of this eyepiece as your simple microscope. For a simple microscope, the magnification is given by D by U. So for this event, you can write the magnification to be D by UE. Rather than U, I am writing UE because we are taking the distance from the eyepiece. So you will say that the magnification is nothing but minus V naught by U naught into D by UE. This quantity minus V naught by U naught is the magnification done by the objective, and this D by UE is the magnification done by eyepiece. Now, as we did for simple microscope, we said that magnification equals to D by U. Then in place of 1 by U, we wrote 1 by F plus 1 by V, right? So here also, rather than writing D by UE, you can write D times 1 by Fe plus 1 by Ve. That becomes D by Fe plus D by Ve. So you can even write the same magnification as magnification due to objective minus V naught by U naught multiplied by D by Fe plus D by Ve, and you need to remember these formulas. So now talking more about magnification. We know that the magnification we have just learned is given by magnification due to objective, which is minus V naught by U naught, multiplied by the magnification due to eyepiece, which is D by Fe plus D by Ve. Now see better, if we have the final image being formed at the least distance of distinct vision, The final image being formed at D, we will say that VE is D. So we will get the magnification to be nothing but minus V naught by U naught into 1 plus D by Fe. Now this 1 plus D by Fe is also the maximum magnification produced by a simple microscope when the final image is formed at a distance D. And this is the magnification due to objective. If the final image is formed at infinity, then what will be the magnification? So the magnification produced by a compound microscope is nothing but the magnification done by objective minus V naught by U naught into the magnification done by eyepiece D by Fe plus D by VE. If the final image is being formed at infinity, the type of image the eyes are most relaxed to see when the system is under normal adjustment, then you will say that VE is infinity, so this second term becomes 0. So the magnification is nothing but minus V naught by U naught into D by Fe. Now here I will like to elaborate more on one approximate formula. If I ask you what is the length of a microscope, you will say that the length of the microscope is nothing but the distance between objective and eyepiece, and that is nothing but V naught plus UE. So the length of microscope is nothing but V naught plus UE. Okay, sir. Why are you using the microscope? Sir, to magnify. Okay. If you want a microscope to magnify good, the magnification due to the objective should be large or small. If we want the microscope to magnify good, the magnification due to objective should also be large. If you want the magnification due to objective to be large, you want V naught to be large and U naught to be small. But there is a catch. You can't make U naught 0. Why we can't make U naught 0? Because the image formed by the objective is the object for the eyepiece. Hence, the objective must form a real image. And for the objective to form the real image, the object must be kept outside the focal length of the objective. Yes. So the minimum value of U naught can be equal to F naught, or you have to keep U naught a slightly greater than F naught. Okay. If you keep U naught slightly greater than F naught, then the type of image you get is real, inverted, and at a humongous distance. Now beta, do understand. The maximum possible value of UE can be Fe. Yes. You are using a microscope. So you want magnification due to objective and eyepiece both to be large. And you know that if you keep U naught just slightly greater than F naught, V naught is large. And the length of the microscope, which is V naught plus UE, then can be approximated to V naught. So beta, here in place of V naught, we are substituting length of the microscope. In place of U naught, we are substituting F naught. And we get an approximate formula which says that the magnification done by a compound microscope can be approximated to minus L by F naught into D by Fe. If you haven't got this last part, do not worry. Just remember that if you want objective to magnify a lot, you will keep the object just outside the focal length of objective. So your U naught can be approximated to F naught. When you keep the object just outside the focal length of objective, V naught comes out to be large. So the length of which is equals to V naught plus UE can be approximated to V naught, and hence in the place of V naught we have substituted L. Now this type of question is asked. If you interchange the eyepiece and objective of a microscope, will the magnification change? The answer is it will remain nearly the same, because you can see that this is a symmetric equation. If you change F naught with Fe and Fe with F naught, you will get nearly the same magnification. So in case of microscope, if you change objective with eyepiece and eyepiece with objective, there is no appreciable change in the magnification. Now the simple part. What is the length of the tube? Length of the tube is nothing but the distance between the two lenses. The length of the tube is nothing but V naught plus UE. If the final image is being formed at a distance D, then you know that UE will be equals to dFe by D plus Fe. We have already done this for simple microscope. And hence you will say that the length of the tube has to be V naught plus UE. And for the final image formed at distance D, you will write in place of UE dFe upon d plus Fe. So this is what we can write in place of UE. By using the length formula, in place of V naught, we can substitute U naught F naught upon U naught minus F naught. Similarly, when the final image is formed at infinity, to get the final image at infinity, UE should be equal to Fe. And you will say that the length has to be nothing but V naught plus Fe. And in place of V naught, again, you can substitute U naught F naught upon U naught minus F naught plus Fe. So now we are moving to the topic of telescope, and the type of telescope we are talking first is astronomical telescope. Astronomical telescope is used to look at the stars. Now, when I look at a star, I can't see the star in great details. Why? Because if this is my eye, then since the stars, despite being very big in size, but are at a very great distance from my eye, the angle subtended by the stars on my eye is very small. And since the angle subtended by the star on my eye is very small, the length of the image formed on the retina is very small and I can't see the details. Let's say that this small angle is alpha. So how do we overcome this problem? We use a telescope. Now, the type of telescope we are using is called astronomical telescope. It again has got two lenses. One is called objective, which points towards the star, and one is called eyepiece, which is just placed in front of our eye. Now, if I am standing on the surface of Earth and I am using a telescope even placed on the surface of Earth, if a distant star subtend an angle alpha on my eye, then the same star will subtend the same angle alpha on the objective of the telescope. Think over it. So the same star subtends the same angle alpha on the objective of the telescope. And this objective is a converging lens. So when the object is placed far away at infinite distance, where will it form the image? So sir, the objective will form the image at its focus. Why? Because the object is at great distance. You are looking at stars, so you can take U as minus infinity, and on solving using the length formula you will get V to be equals to plus F. So for this far away star, the objective forms the image at its focus. And let's say this image has a height h, and this image will also subtend an angle alpha. Now sir, what do we do? Again, the same simple microscope story. We make sure that the image formed by the objective lies within the focal length of eyepiece, and since the image formed by the objective lies within the focal length of eyepiece, now the eyepiece that can be used as a simple microscope will form a magnified virtual image, and that will be seen by the eye. So do remember that this image formed by the objective should lie within the focal length of eyepiece, and let's say this distance is nothing but UE, the distance at which the image is formed by the objective from the eyepiece. Now this eyepiece forms a virtual image of, let's say, height h dash. We know that magnification is nothing but the angle subtended on the eye with the aid of instrument upon the angle subtended on the eye without the aid of instrument. So we will say that the magnification is nothing but beta by alpha. Looking in this triangle, you can say that beta can be written as h by UE. Beta can be written as h by UE. And alpha can be written, looking in this triangle, as alpha as h by f naught. So we will say that the magnification, which is beta by alpha, can be written as h by UE upon h by f naught. So you will say that the magnification is nothing but f naught by UE. So easy. Now again, as always, in place of 1 by UE, you will substitute 1 by Fe plus 1 by Ve. So on substituting that, the same magnification can be written as f naught into 1 by Fe plus 1 by Ve, the distance of the final image from the eyepiece, that is Ve. Now bachcho, again two cases. For maximum magnification, the final image should be formed at a distance d. But when the final image will be formed at a distance d, your eyes will be most stressed. So this is not the way the telescope is used in everyday life. When we use the telescope in everyday life, we keep it under normal adjustment so that the final image is formed at infinity and our eyes are most relaxed to see at the image. But for maximum magnification, you will take V equals to D, and your magnification will come out to be f naught by Fe plus f naught by D. Substitute here in place of Vd, you will get f naught by Fe plus f naught by d. And when you keep for maximum magnification such that the final image is formed at d, you will say that the length of the telescope has to be f naught plus ue, and in place of ue you will substitute dfe upon d plus fe. So the length of the telescope, which is f naught plus ue, and for the final image formed at d, ue can be substituted as dfe upon d plus fe. So see how important is simple microscope. Now for relaxed observation, when the final image is formed at infinity, when your eyes are most relaxed, then you will say that V has to be infinity. If you substitute here V equals to infinity, the second term becomes 0. So you get magnification to be nothing but f naught by Fe. If the final image is being formed at infinity, then beta, you will say that this UE has to be same as Fe, the focal length of eyepiece. So you can say that the length of the telescope, which is f naught plus ue, can also be said to be f naught plus Fe. The number one FAQ, frequently asked out question in any competitive examination from optical instrument, comes from here. Astronomical telescope under relaxed observation. Remember that magnification is f naught by Fe and the length of the telescope is f naught plus Fe. Most of the question comes from here. Now this is also asked. If you want a telescope with higher magnification, which one should be high, which one should be small? So you will say, if you want large magnification, f naught should be large, focal length of objective should be large, and focal length of eyepiece should be small. So they will ask you question like, if you have got two lenses of power 80 diopter and 20 diopter, which one you will use as objective, which one you will use as eyepiece? So here you will say that the lens having 4 times the power will have 1/4 the focal length. So if the second lens has got focal length f, the first one will have focal length f by 4. Since the first lens has got 1/4 the focal length, that one should be used as the eyepiece. A small number in denominator and big number in numerator. Second thing beta, sometimes they say if you flip the position of objective and eyepiece in a telescope, what happens? So if initially it was having some magnification of 5, after flipping, f naught will become Fe and Fe will become f naught. Now the new magnification will be 1 by 5. Okay, keep this thing in mind as well. Last thing, which one should have higher aperture, objective or eyepiece? Remember, in case of optical instrument, the one which has greater focal length must have greater aperture. So since in case of telescope, the objective must have greater focal length to get greater magnification, the diameter of the objective lens should be greater than the diameter of the eyepiece. So these are some important points. Moving on to our terrestrial telescope. What is a terrestrial telescope? Terrestrial telescope are the telescope which are used to look at the things moving on Earth or placed on Earth. Now we can't use astronomical telescope to look at a mountain. Why? Because astronomical telescope forms the image upside down. The objective inverts it. It forms a real image. So sir, what to do? So in case of terrestrial telescope, we just place one more lens to invert the image. We just place one extra lens to invert the image, and this lens is called the inverting lens. So we have got objective, we have got inverting lens, we have got eyepiece. If using a terrestrial telescope, you are looking at a far away object, somewhere far away. So then the objective will form a real inverted image at its focus. The only job of this inverting lens is to invert the image. So we maintain such that this image formed by the objective is at a distance 2 times the focal length of inverting lens. So that when this object is at a distance of 2 Fi, this inverting lens forms one image of same size at same distance, real and inverted. So the object again becomes erect. And this image formed by the inverting lens should lie within the focal length of the eyepiece, so that then it can magnify it just like a simple microscope do. And let's take this distance as UE. So again, just remember, in the case of terrestrial telescope, we just add up an extra lens, and the job of this lens is to invert the image. We make sure that the image formed by the objective is at a distance 2fi, so that the image formed is also at a distance 2fi, the image just get inverted once more so that it becomes erect with respect to the original object. Now bachcho, the magnification, you will say simply f naught by ue, the formula we got for astronomical telescope, f naught by ue. And in place of ue, you can again write f naught times 1 by d plus 1 by v. Nothing great here. Now, the length of the telescope will be equals to f naught plus 4fi plus ue. The length of the telescope will be f naught plus 4fi plus ue. If the telescope is under normal adjustment, then we know that the final image is formed at infinity. For astronomical telescope under normal adjustment, we got the magnification to be f naught by fe. Same formula will work here as well. So under normal adjustment, your magnification will be f naught by fe. And for the telescope under normal adjustment, we say that ue is same as fe. So the length of the terrestrial telescope is nothing but f naught plus 4fi plus fe. So you just need to remember that in the case of terrestrial telescope, we place one more lens in between, and the job of this lens is just to make the final image erect with respect to the original object. And for that we use an inverting lens. That's all. Now bachcho, taking the last thing into consideration, that is resolving limit and resolving power. So first, resolving limit. The smallest angular separation, theta, between two distant objects whose image are separated in telescope is called resolving limit. Once more, the smallest angular separation theta, the smallest possible value of the angle subtended by two close objects on the objective of a telescope, two distant objects whose image are separated in telescope is called resolving limit. Now this smallest possible angle theta, or which is called the resolving limit, is given by the formula 1.22 lambda by a. What is lambda? Lambda is the wavelength of the light being used, and a is the aperture of the objective of the telescope. So the smallest possible value of angle that two objects can subtend on the objective of a telescope, so that those two objects can be obtained as two different objects. When we look at the final image, that smallest value of theta is 1.22 lambda by a. Lambda is the wavelength of the light being used, and a is the aperture of objective. The smaller the value of theta that can be detected, the better is your telescope. If you have got two telescopes, telescope 1, which can even separate out between two objects which subtend an angle of 1 degree, and one second telescope which can separate out between objects which subtend an angle of 2 degree, you will say that the first telescope is better. It can even separate out the objects which subtend smaller angle, right? So we say there is a quantity called resolving power, and resolving power is nothing but the reciprocal of theta. So resolving power is nothing but 1 by theta. So if you need to remember the formula of resolving power, that will be a upon 1.22 lambda. Next bachcho, resolving power is inversely proportional to lambda. So if you use light of higher wavelength, the resolving power will decrease. So red will have lesser resolving power than violet. Minimum separation d between two objects so that they can be just resolved by a telescope is given by. So let's say there are two objects which have some separation d between them, and these two objects are at a distance r from the objective of a telescope. So what has to be the minimum separation between these two objects so that they can be just resolved? Do understand, as the value of d will decrease, theta will decrease, and there is a limit to the smallest possible value of theta so that the telescope can resolve the two objects. And we know that theta is 1.22 lambda by a. From this relationship, can I say that d equals to r theta? Yes, sir. And in place of 1 by theta, can I write resolving power? So we can say that this distance d is nothing but r upon resolving power. Sir, how have you written it? Think over it this way. D equals to r theta from our basic trigonometry. I can say d equals to r upon 1 by theta. And in place of 1 by theta, we can write resolving power. Now, once more, what is r? Where r is the distance of the object from the telescope. So that's all for this hour. See you guys in the next hour where we are going to start the topic of wave optics. See you guys. Bye bye. So that's all for now. See you guys in the next hour.